name is David Figs, and if you are new to my channel, I owned a 2019 Gen 2 Raptor, sold that for a Gen 1 2014 Raptor SE, and today you see me driving in my brand new 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor, baby. Today's video, we're gonna give you, and I'm gonna give you, a full impression of real world driving this thing. I just picked it up this morning. I just ticked over 200 miles. And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and what I've experienced so far. Stay tuned. I picked up this 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor this morning. I am about halfway home, maybe a little bit before halfway, and I've done a little over 200 miles. So some of the headlines so far. In 3 hours of drive time, I've averaged 65 mph, and my MPGs have been 15.5 gallons. Now, what's interesting is that at some parts of the drive, I see that in the beginning, I was averaging like 18. I think the last hour or so, it's dropped down pretty significantly. The tank size, when I first jumped in the car this morning, was about 350, 400. I just filled up right now, and it's saying 300 on the dot. So a few things stick out. One, computer's still learning, brand new truck, right? It's adjusting, it's learning. So I'm interested to see, in this video, we're gonna monitor it, and with the beautiful power of YouTube, my 8-hour drive is going to be nothing but a couple minutes for you guys, but I want to check that out. So those are the big things right off the bat. How does it feel driving this thing? I never saw one in person before taking delivery of this. I never sat in one. All I did was watch YouTube videos like you guys are now. And so I was curious on a lot of different things. How is it going to feel? What is the fit and finish going to look like? How is it going to drive? Very curious on all of those. The things that immediately stick out to me is the fit and finish and the touch points. So everything that you're touching, from the steering wheel to the armrest to the center console, everything feels really, really good. The steering wheel feels really, really good. The armrest is super padded. Here on the top is like this faux Alcantara feeling thing. It looks like it's already getting a little bit dirty, but this is super soft. The armrest itself is probably like a 1/4 of an inch cush, if not half an inch of cush plush. It is super comfortable. The seat is super soft and comfortable. These bolsterings, sometimes outside looking in, because I own a 2017 Shelby GT 350R, it's not meant for road trips, right? It's meant to keep you in place when you're going 130 miles an hour across a racetrack. This is super comfortable. There isn't any real bolstering in the bottom, which is nice, right? And the top has a little bit of it, but it's not intrusive. It's super, super comfortable. Everything that I'm touching feels really, really good and looks really, really good. So that's my initial impressions. From a driving characteristic standpoint, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but I have the exhaust in Baja mode. there is drone. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm usually listening to music or a podcast, so you don't really hear it. But in dead silence, you hear the drone. Now, I really hope the audio is picking up. I'm going to put it into quiet mode. The wind is louder than the exhaust. I don't hear anything. And I think that's pretty cool. I think Ford, and Ford Performance specifically, with the Shelby, I can't believe what they were able to do from a factory exhaust standpoint on having a quiet mode and having that ludicrously loud sound when you put it into track mode. They knocked it out of the park with this one too. I am really interested to hear how it sounds on the outside and like drive-bys and all that. Of course, I've watched videos on YouTube, so I've heard it, but I want to hear it obviously in person. It is super comfortable. It's not very balanced. Everything is in normal. I'm driving the truck only in normal mode. I did put the steering into comfort. I sort of like it a little bit better because I like comfort in the Shelby too for regular driving. It's not as heavy, artificially heavy. I haven't even touched suspension. And then the exhaust, I've done Baja. Speaking of which, I want to put into sport and see what that sounds like. But it's super compliant, super comfortable. Now, I want to talk about some of the things that I've noticed thus far that I don't hate. Hate's a really strong word, but I find a little finicky. One, the screen is already bugged out on me. I was on a phone call and I couldn't unmute, mute, I couldn't hang up, and the screen was frozen. I had to play around with the screen and go to different apps, and this is specific to Apple CarPlay, and then the screen reset and it was able to work. Okay, not a huge deal, but one thing I've experienced thus far. The other thing is, I don't know, and this is a user problem, right? This is a brand new car to me. I have 200 miles and I've literally just been driving highway the whole time, or freeway. I have no idea how to check tire pressures. My assumption is it's probably somewhere in the screen and I don't really want to play with it while I'm driving. So I have no idea what the tire pressures are. From previous experience, dealerships usually overinflate the tires. So let's say this is supposed to be 40 PSI, it's probably 45, 50. I bring that up because with higher tire pressure, it makes it more bouncy, but it's not bouncy at all. So I could be wrong. Maybe it is at 40 PSI, but they're usually higher on the PSI and it makes the truck really bouncy. It's not. It's not at all. You don't feel it. Knew it was user error. I finally figured out how to check your PSI. There's a button right here that I'm assuming engages different modes. When you press it, your PSIs come on the front of the screen. So back to what I said in the very beginning, that they usually fill up the tires around 45 and they're supposed to be like 40, things like that. My tires are all around 55 PSI. So given how high of pressure they are, I am really, really impressed with the quality of ride. I remember when I bought my Gen 2 Raptor, the PSIs were really high as well, and it was super, super bouncy. The other thing that I am getting used to, it's not that big of a deal, but it is something I've never experienced before, is the shifter. It's this weird electronic shifter, I want to say, and getting it into gear, like I always have to look down and see what gear it is, like whether it's reverse or drive. Again, that's probably something I'll just get used to over time. The other thing, the knobs for climate control are not in the touchscreen, which is cool. I like that. I'm I'm not big into everything in the touchscreen. But they are really, really small. And, you know, I don't have big hands by any means, but they are very small knobs. Again, personal preference. It fits perfectly. I think aesthetically it looks great, but something that I've noticed. The only other thing, again, personal preference, and mind you, I drive a Shelby. I daily drove a 2014 Raptor for almost 4 years, is there's a lot of tech in this, good and bad. Everything lives in the screen, which is pretty cool. It's a massive, massive screen, which is cool. But then there's also lane departure. There's sensors everywhere. Again, great. For me personally, not a huge fan of, but what I do like is that you can turn a lot of that off. So like auto stop start, I couldn't find it for the longest time, and it's right here. Boom. Now auto stop start is disabled. And then I don't like the lane assist either. There's a button right here. Lane system on. Oh, it stayed off. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I turned this off on my drive earlier, and I just went to turn it off again, and it was already off. So it remembers the settings that it was in before. And what I also do know is this R button, I think I can configure to my own personal settings. So every single time I get in, it looks like it remembers the previous settings, but say my wife drives, I can just press the R button and it goes back to exactly the way I want. So far, initial impressions, this is unbelievable. Like, I am floored that this truck, I haven't off-roaded it, I haven't flogged it, I haven't really put it through its paces yet, but just from a daily driver, it feels incredible. It's got the same motor as a Bronco Raptor. A Bronco Raptor is $100,000. Yes, it has different suspension. Yes, there's different components to it. But this has the same power plant, right? And this starts at $55,000. I'm blown away for the price difference between a Gen 1 and this. It's not that much. A Gen 3 Raptor, and I don't know off the top of my head, bare bones, probably around 70. From what I've heard from friends in the forums, you really want the 37 package and 802A. That puts you in the 80s. I mean, this comes almost fully loaded from the factory for 55 grand. Man, with Tacoma and Toyota coming out with their Trail Hunter and TRD Pro starting at 65 for a hybrid, I bet you it's not as capable as this, and we're gonna find that out. It's hard to beat, but I still got a long ways to go. I'm gonna keep checking in, letting you guys know if anything's changed, what the MPG is like, the comfort. But right now, I am so happy with my decision. I am so grateful to be able to, you know, have a supportive wife and family that allows me to do, you know, buy these toys, if you will, and enjoy them. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching, but I'm just rambling now. Let's I'll check back in with you in a little bit. So that's the entire 550-mile road trip from Omaha back to Denver, Colorado. You see the time, you see how long I've been driving, the total mileage, and the MPG. Stay tuned for the next one.